Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Matty J Wrestling channel. Today in this video, we will be going over what happened at NXT Takeover XXX and SummerSlam 2020. And I'll also be posting my records up here and posting my record of SummerSlam up here. And down here, we will have the overall record for the weekend. Now, I already know how many I predicted right and how many I predicted wrong. And if that you watched either of the two videos, or you go back and watch them, you will see how many I got right or got wrong. But you will hear my opinions on the matches, and that's what you get in this video. So to oh wow, okay. To start out the show, the weekend, we had the triple threat tag team match on NXT Takeover pre-show, and Breezango ended up winning, so that's already 0-1 for me. But it was a fine match. It was what you would want a pre-show match to do: be good, be entertaining, and hopefully draw some eyes onto the main show. Speaking of the main show, we started out with Finn Balor and Timothy Thatcher. It was a great hard-hitting match. It was more about the submissions. It wasn't a spot fest. It wasn't about just pulling off these things that not everyone can do. It's about pulling off the things that it takes practice to do. And it was a good match. I said Timothy Thatcher would win. Got that wrong. But I'm back. But either way, Finn Balor coming out on top is just fine, because at NXT Takeover in your house, Finn Balor also beat Damian Priest, who I thought should have won the match. And look where Damian Priest is now. Speaking of where Damian Priest is now, NXT ladder match for the North American Championship between Velveteen Dream, Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed. It was a spot fest. It was what you want out of a ladder match, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have only been watching NXT for a bit over a year now, I believe, because I watched every Takeover since the one where that Gargano and Cole main evented in that 3 Stages of Hell match. I've been watching every Takeover since that one, and I've been keeping up with NXT ever since it went onto USA. So I didn't see the NXT Takeover Brooklyn ladder match, and I probably won't, because I may, but it's just a bit difficult for me to go back and then see all these people who, like, I know where they end up and what ends up happening. Not necessarily in the match, but I know what happens in their future. It's just going to be a bit odd for me, and especially since I wasn't watching back then. I don't know all the stories. I don't know all the feuds that were going on during this time. So, probably won't be watching that match. But at the end of the day, Damian Priest was able to knock Johnny Gargano off the ladder while they were fighting for the title, and grab the title only after Velveteen Dream got launched off of the top of a ladder. He bounced off the ropes, over the barricade, through 2 tables. Yeah, that was a good spot. I forget what happened to Cameron Grimes or Bronson Reed to knock them out of contention at the end. But Damian Priest won the belt. That's right. I somehow got a one-on-one match wrong and a triple threat match wrong. But I got a match that had 5 participants right. I'm talented in a way that not everyone can see. It's just, I just ooze that I know it's gonna happen, but only sometimes. Next, we had Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. And as I said in my NXT Takeover predictions, I expected Pat McAfee to be good at this. I expected him to put on a match that was enjoyable. And yes, he did it, and I'm proud of him. I knew he should have the ability to do it, and he proved that he could do it. The match, if that it was anyone other than Pat McAfee facing Adam Cole, it would have just been an average match. But because of how everyone was underestimating his ability, it just ended up elevating it to be a takeover match. This was between Adam Cole and, say, Cameron Grimes. This match, and the same exact things happened in this match, it would have been the same if that it was just on a normal NXT. It would have had the same feel. But because it was on a takeover and it was Pat McAfee, it felt like a big major match. And I got this one right, but that 2-2. I predicted it was going to be Adam Cole winning, and I was right. I was not expecting Pat McAfee to actually connect with a punt, but it happened. I was not expecting Adam Cole to hit a Panama Sunrise, but he did, and it was quite good. Next match, Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. And this is where I feel like there was a major dump off in big match feel, because it felt like a big match, but with everything that was going on and all the matches before it, I just had a dump off. The excitement level went down a bit too far for my liking, and I enjoyed the match though nonetheless. It was still a good match, really picked up near the end, which is where it needs to pick up. And I got it right, Io Shirai came out on top, and it basically was a 2-on-1 match, because we saw Dakota Kai kick the ref, knock the ref out, unintentionally kick the ref. Then we saw Raquel Gonzalez, I remembered her first name this time, attack Io Shirai. Io Shirai still managed to kick out after it all. So, puts me up to 3-2. After starting out 0-2, I am now over 500 in my predictions. I'm talented. And then in the final match, we had Karrion Kross taking on Keith Lee. This match, to me, was a good match. The match wasn't as good as it should have been as an NXT Takeover main event, but it was still a good and enjoyable match. And I think a bit of that lackluster ending, the lackluster final couple minutes, really came in because of Karrion Kross's injury, which is believed to be a separated shoulder, and we don't know if he's going to have to relinquish the title. I don't believe he will, and I believe we will continue to see Kross with the title. Put me up to 4-2, and I'm recording this obviously after SummerSlam, so we know Keith Lee is now getting called up to Raw. What will he be doing? I can bet it's going to be a squash match on Raw. But hey, from now getting into the SummerSlam predictions, as we have our final NXT Takeover predictions, we see what they are. And now down here, we can see what our final predictions are coming out of NXT Takeover, which is the same thing. Don't know why I pointed this one out, but I did. So now we go to SummerSlam, and on the pre-show, they put Apollo Crews versus MVP. I don't believe it should have been on the pre-show. None of the matches on SummerSlam felt like they deserved to be on the pre-show. So, I think that they should have just done something else other than this match. But nonetheless, though, I did get it right. Apollo Crews did beat MVP, put me to 1-0 on the SummerSlam predictions, and it was a fine match. It was a pre-show match. It was designed to draw you in, and it was a pre-show match. Then we get to the main card. The main card started out with Bayley versus Asuka, and as you know, I'm a big critic on this entire Bayley and Sasha destroying the women's division storyline, because it just hurts more than it helps. It helps 2 people. It hurts multiples of 10, over 50 women. It hurts, but it helps 2 people in the end of the day. And as I predicted, Bayley retained her SmackDown Championship in a match that I was not interested in, and I was happy to get it out of the way. And guess what? It ended in a roll-up. Classic Bayley and Sasha. Thumb finishes. Next up, we had the Raw Tag Team Championship match between the Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza. This was a fine match. It was a step up from Bayley and Asuka, and it wasn't perfect. It didn't have the cleanest finish, but it still had a definitive finish. And it was Street Profits winning from Zelina Vega getting onto the apron. Angel Garza, I believe, rather threw Montez Ford into the ropes, or Montez Ford threw Angel Garza into the ropes, and that which they ended up bumping into Zelina Vega, and Zelina Vega falling to the floor ended up distracting Andrade, and Andrade wanted to go check on her. And during that time, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins was able to capitalize on Angel Garza and pick up the win. Fine match. Put me up to 2-1 because I predicted Angel Garza and Andrade were going to win it. Kind of wish it would have been something more from Bianca Belair, maybe. But this match could have been more, but it wasn't. Next match we got was Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. One of the 4 matches I was really looking forward to on this match, on this card. And I would say it delivered. To me, it delivered. To some people, it was a bit more lackluster. It wasn't as much of a spot fest, but that wasn't what I was looking for in this match. I was looking for Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville to just try to get as much offense in on each other as they could, and that's what I believe they did. And there were many, many knees thrown. When I say many knees, you watch this match, you can probably count over 10 knees in total. And that's fine by me. Just shows the brutality that both of these women bring to the table. And as I predicted, and as I think pretty much everyone expected, but no one complained about knowing the outcome, Mandy Rose defeated Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville is no longer with WWE. So, she's probably going to return at the Royal Rumble. Maybe if Mandy Rose gets a title opportunity, maybe Sonya's going to come back then or something. We'll see what they do with Sonya once that she comes back. Going to be a big return. If it's with crowd, it's going to be to hopefully a standing ovation. Unless it's a heel debut and they attack someone, but that would still be fine. So 3-1. Okay, I'm doing good on SummerSlam already. Next, we get to Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio. This was another quite good match. The second out of the 4 matches I was looking forward to, and I think it delivered for what it was. Mainly, it was. You can call it repetitive, but I think that's what it was always designed to be based on the build-up. It was Seth Rollins getting control, Dominic big spurt of offense. Seth Rollins gets back in control, and repeat until we get to the end of the match. To rather Seth Rollins and just to finish the match during his offense, or during Dominic's spurt, we see him win the match. We saw Seth Rollins win after he handcuffed Rey Mysterio to the ropes, and Rey Mysterio could do nothing while Seth Rollins curb stomped Dominic Mysterio. I had predicted Dominic Mysterio to win. I was wrong. That puts me up to a 3-2 count. So, not the greatest, but not upset nonetheless. Good match. I enjoyed it. And then we got to Sasha Banks versus Asuka. Once again, this match just threw me off, man. It just wasn't. It's like, these feel like Baron Corbin or Charlotte Flair matches that you just look at them and you're just like, I really don't want to see that again, because we've seen this so many times, and it always ends in the same way, a bad finish. And this time the bad finish was Bayley jumping onto the apron, quite like Sasha Banks did. Asuka went for a hip attack, quite like she did earlier. Asuka totally learned from her mistakes. Bayley then pushed Sasha out of the way, like Sasha did for Bayley earlier. But this time, Asuka did apparently learn and did a spinning back fist to Bayley and locked Sasha into the Asuka lock. I don't believe the Asuka lock as a finisher anymore. Why don't I believe it as a finisher anymore? Because it always gets reversed by Sasha and Bayley. It always does. This is the first time I can remember this finisher actually being successful in way too long. It shouldn't be like that. Asuka deserves so much better. Thankfully, Asuka won though. Hopefully we can get Sasha and Bayley away from the Raw title, and we can allow Sasha and Bayley to begin to rather do their dissension, or to rebuild themselves as not the women who got booked so poorly that they destroyed the women's division in WWE. To put me up to 4-2. They are the same. But we still got 2 more matches left on the SummerSlam card, so let's see what they were. Next we had Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. This match I was expecting to be the main event. It wasn't, and we know why, as we know what happens at the end of the show. But Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton went out there and they put on a Randy Orton match. Slow, methodical, enjoyable. For me, it's enjoyable. For some people, it might not be. It's not more about, big move after big move near the end. It's just, they surprise you with a finish. It goes slow, it slowly picks up, it begins to slow down again, and then boom, big finish, or a surprising finish. And in this time, it was a backslide roll up. Now, I know I criticized Bayley and Asuka for doing a roll up earlier in the night, but that's because we have seen that match multiple times already. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton are allowed to do it for multiple reasons, and I'm okay. Well, they're not always allowed to do this, but in this case, I think it's okay, because there's obviously going to be another match at Backlash, and I think this finish helps out so much. No RKO, no Claymore were used in this match. It all was just normal, typical moves that most people who train in wrestling can do. And that's all it had to be, because it wasn't about the big finishers in this match. It was about getting a winner, and the winner was Drew McIntyre. Put me up there, but I'm not done talking about this match yet, because it was a Claymore that got reversed, an RKO then got reversed, and then it was the backslide roll-up. They got you going with the reversed Claymore, they got you going with the RKO that got reversed, and then once the backslide pin happened, you were on the edge of your seat. Is this the finish? Yes, it was. And I think that it's just going to make the next match, probably at Payback, much more enjoyable than it would have been originally. Because we would have had to see multiple finishers, which just not always the best thing if you want to keep finishers looking strong. And this was the best booking to keep finishers looking strong. Then we got to the end of the night. It was Braun Strowman up against The Fiend Bray Wyatt. This match was okay. Once again, it wasn't the best finish, but this time it wasn't about the finish that was meant to be the big talking point. Because I think the logical winner was always The Fiend. Braun Strowman was never going to win this match under any circumstances. And Braun Strowman cut his own grave. He didn't dig it, he cut his own grave by cutting the ring down to its wood. And then he got Sister Abigail on it, I believe, multiple times. And The Fiend is your new Universal Champion. Wait, put that up to 6-2. Now let's get back into it. Roman Reigns returned, and he speared The Fiend, speared Braun Strowman, attacked Braun Strowman with a chair. He said to Braun Strowman, "You would not be this monster without me," which is true. The entire monster gimmick came while he was facing Roman Reigns. Whenever he was flipping the ambulances, or whenever those big things were happening, it was when he was facing Roman Reigns. And The Fiend just brought that same gimmick back. So this is a stroke of genius by Bray Wyatt to be able to bring Roman back and to fight The Fiend and have it make sense. And then Roman Reigns ended up spearing The Fiend one more time, held up the Universal Championship, and that's when the show went off air. It would be bad of me not to mention that Roman was wearing a new shirt, not his vest, a new shirt that said, "Wreck everyone and leave." What could that be hinting at? I don't know. Could that mean he's really not going to be wrestling many matches, but he's going to just appear every now and then? Could that mean that he could be a part of Retribution? Could that mean anything else? I have no idea. We will see what happens in the time coming. But finally, my predictions. I went 4-2 on NXT. I went 6-2 at SummerSlam, bringing me to a grand total of 10-4 out of 14 matches. I think I didn't do quite bad, and I'm excited to see what Raw has in store tonight. As of right now, I'm planning on live streaming my reactions to NXT and AEW. We will see if I do that. And that's pretty much all I got there. Besides that, good day.